My husband gave up after being told he was infertile. Now, after a year of heartbreak and a miracle surgery, I'm pregnant with the baby of. I'm 29, and I've been with my husband, also 29, for 6 years. We've been married for 3. From the very beginning, we connected over shared values, especially around family. We both come from family-oriented backgrounds, both dreamed of becoming parents someday, and spent countless nights early in our relationship talking about what kind of parents we'd be. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. By early 2023, everything felt aligned. We were stable, emotionally and financially. We had a cozy home, solid careers, a good support system. It finally felt like the right time. So, we started trying for a baby. I remember being so hopeful in those first few months. Every time my cycle was late, I let myself feel a little flutter of excitement. But month after month, nothing. After about 6 months, I started to get nervous. Not panicked, just quietly concerned. I gently suggested we look into fertility testing, just to be proactive. My husband brushed it off at first, called me a worry rat in a half-joking way. He said we should give it a full year of trying before we started worrying. So I waited. I counted the months. I tried to relax and not fixate on it, even though I thought about it every single day. February came. A full year of trying. No double lines. No baby. I scheduled the tests. We walked into that clinic with the quiet assumption that if there was an issue, it would be with me. That's just what you grow up hearing, right? Stories about women struggling with infertility, hormone imbalances, difficult cycles. I was already bracing myself to hear that my body had failed me somehow. But I was wrong. The doctor called us in and told us something I'll never forget. My husband has a condition called azoospermia. He has no sperm. None. The doctor explained that in his case it looked like the kind of azoospermia where even surgical extraction might not help, but we could try. It might not work, but it wouldn't hurt to try. We were devastated. I remember leaving the office that day in complete silence. My husband didn't say a word. I could see the grief, the shame, the disbelief all over his face. And I felt it too, but I also felt something else, a need to fight. I wanted to explore every option. I wanted him to try the medications, to go through the surgery even if the odds were slim. And if that didn't work, I wanted us to talk about donor sperm or adoption. There had to be a way forward. But he shut down. Since February, he's refused everything. He says the surgery is pointless if the doctor already thinks it won't help. That taking medication for something hopeless will only make him feel worse. He flat out rejected the idea of donor sperm, saying it makes him feel emasculated, that he wouldn't be able to love a child that isn't biologically his. Not even if the donor was a relative of his. And adoption? He told me he's never wanted to raise a child that isn't ours. I understand this diagnosis rocked his world. I truly do. I know that as a man, this hit him in a way that challenges his sense of identity, his masculinity, his self-worth. I know it must be excruciating to face something so final. But I'm hurting too. There's nothing more I want than to be a mother. It's not a passing dream or a cute idea. It's something I felt in my bones for years. And now I feel like I'm being asked to grieve that dream alone. He won't go to therapy. I've begged him, pleaded with him to talk to someone, to let someone help him carry this weight. But he says he's accepted it. That I'm the one who hasn't. And maybe he has in a way. But to me, giving up without trying doesn't feel like acceptance. It feels like surrender. I've tried bringing it up gently, with love, with patience. Every time, he shuts me down. He says, "We will never have a child together. I'll never be a real dad. Just move on." How do you respond to that when the person you love is giving up on the very thing you've both always wanted? I feel alone in this grief. I have no one to talk to, because he doesn't want anyone to know. Not our families, not our friends. It's a silent heartbreak. I cry in secret now. I smile through conversations about babies and baby showers, nodding along while my heart aches. I'm not angry at him. I still love him. But I'm scared. Scared that this will be the thing that pulls us apart. Not because we stopped loving each other, but because we want different things now, and only one of us is allowed to feel it out loud. All I want is for us to face this together. To fight for a future that may not look how we imagined, but could still be beautiful. But right now, it feels like I'm fighting alone. I've always known I wanted to be a mother. It's never been a vague or abstract dream for me. It's been something steady and constant in my heart for as long as I can remember. And when I met my husband, I truly believed we were aligned in that dream. We talked about it early on in our relationship, what kind of parents we'd be, what values we'd pass on, the kind of life we'd build together. I thought we were in this together. We've been together for 6 years now, married for 3. By early 2023, we both felt ready. We were stable financially, emotionally, and as a couple. We started trying for a baby, and I was filled with so much quiet hope. I had this vision in my head of taking pregnancy tests together, seeing 2 lines, calling our families, watching his face light up. But it didn't happen. Month after month, nothing. After half a year of trying, I began to worry. I brought up getting our fertility tested. He thought I was overreacting and asked me to wait until it had been a full year. So I did. I waited. Counted the months. In February of this year, I booked the appointment. What came next was a shock. I think both of us had assumed if there was an issue, it would be with me. That's what we hear about most often, female infertility. Hormones, cycles, endometriosis. I'd already mentally started preparing myself to be told my body was the problem. But it wasn't me. The diagnosis hit us like a brick wall. Azoospermia. My husband has no sperm. Not low sperm count, none. The doctor explained that in his specific case, the chance of retrieving sperm through surgery was very low, but not zero. There were options, medications, supplements, lifestyle changes, surgical extraction. And if that didn't work, we could consider a sperm donor. Adoption. There were still ways for us to become parents. But from that moment on, it was like my husband shut down. Completely. He refuses the surgery, says the prep is too much. Daily meds, supplements, cold showers, changes to his routine. He won't even consider it. When I brought up donor sperm, he said the idea makes him feel emasculated, like he'd be raising someone else's child. Even if it were from a family member, he said it would still feel like a betrayal of his identity. As for adoption, he dismissed it outright. He said he never wanted to raise a child that wasn't biologically his. No matter what I brought up, the answer was always no. I've asked him to come to fertility counseling with me. I told him we need help processing this, not just the diagnosis, but what it means for us, our future, our marriage. But he won't go. He says he's accepted it, and that I'm the one who can't. The truth is, I can accept the infertility. I can accept that our journey to parenthood might look different than we imagined. What I can't accept is standing still forever. I can't accept being told we'll never have a child together, without even trying. I can't spend the rest of my life in limbo while he shuts down every option and refuses to engage. This past summer, it really sank in for me. He was right. We'll never have a child together. Because he won't let us. Not through any means but biology. And biology isn't on our side. Last night, I finally had the conversation I've been dreading. I sat him down and told him, calmly and with compassion, that I empathize with how painful this diagnosis has been. I told him I respect his feelings about the surgery and the donor options. But I also told him that I want to be a mom, that I am not getting any younger. And if he isn't willing to try at all, if he refuses to explore even a single path forward or speak to a professional, then I need a divorce. He broke down crying. He said he couldn't believe I would even consider leaving him over this. That if the roles were reversed, he would never walk away from me over infertility. That I was a horrible person for punishing him for something he can't control. And I told him it's not the infertility. It's the refusal to even try. To even talk about it. I could live with not having biological children. I can't live with someone who sees parenthood as all or nothing and chooses nothing. He accused me of never loving him, that if I did, I'd never even think about leaving over kids that don't exist yet. That cut deep. Because I do love him. But I also love the version of me I saw in my future, the mother I wanted to become. And I can't erase that dream for someone who's already erased it for himself. He cried for a long time. I reached out to comfort him, and he pulled away. Wouldn't let me touch him. He said I'd already made up my mind, and he didn't want my pity. Now I'm sitting here, writing this, and I feel gutted. I feel like the worst person in the world. I feel selfish and cruel, like I've ripped the rug out from under the man I love. But what else can I do? Just keep begging him to open up? To change his mind? To try anything? I don't want to give up on our marriage. But I'm starting to realize maybe he already has. And if I stay, what happens to me? To the woman who's always dreamed of being a mother? Do I just keep pushing that dream further and further away until one day it's no longer an option? I don't have the answers. But I know this. Love doesn't mean abandoning your deepest needs to make someone else comfortable. And right now, I'm standing at a crossroads between the life I wanted with him and the life I still want for myself. After 8 monthly, finally. I can't believe I'm writing this with a smile on my face, but here we are. If you had told me a year ago that we'd be where we are now, stronger as a couple, expecting our first child, I don't think I would have believed you. Back then, everything felt so uncertain, so painful. My husband and I had always known we wanted to be parents. It was a part of our plan from the very beginning. We both come from big, loving families, and parenting just felt like the natural next step for us. When we started trying in early 2023, we were filled with excitement and hope. But nothing happened. Month after month, I stared at negative tests and told myself to be patient. Still, I started worrying early on, and when I brought up getting tested, he asked me to wait. "Give it a year," he said. I waited, silently tracking the calendar. Then February came. We went in for testing. I thought maybe something minor was off with my hormones or cycles. Never once did it cross either of our minds that the issue could be with him. When the doctor told us he had azoospermia, no sperm at all, it was one of the hardest moments we'd faced together. I was stunned. He was shattered. And we didn't know how to move forward. I immediately started researching options: medication, surgery, sperm retrieval techniques like microtease, even sperm donation and adoption. But he couldn't handle any of it. He shut down completely. I knew he was hurting, but I didn't know how to reach him. He wouldn't go to therapy, wouldn't talk, wouldn't even entertain possibilities. He just said over and over again, "We'll never have kids. That's it." I felt helpless, devastated, and honestly alone. I had dreamed of being a mom all my life, and I could see that dream slipping away, not because we had no options, but because he was too afraid to try. I got to a point where I couldn't keep carrying the hope alone. I gave him an ultimatum. Either we explore something, even if it's just one therapy session, or we need to reevaluate this marriage. It wasn't a threat, it was a plea. To my surprise, he agreed to go to therapy. That one session changed everything. We each spoke privately, and then together. It was the first time I heard him truly articulate his fear, not just of being infertile, but of trying and failing. He admitted he was so terrified of hearing no again that he chose not to try at all. He told me he felt like less of a man. Like a disappointment, that he was mourning the version of fatherhood he'd always imagined. And for the first time, I saw how deeply he'd been carrying this pain. Therapy cracked him open, and I met him in that vulnerability. We held each other through it. We cried. We talked. And for the first time in months, we started to heal together. After 5 sessions, we felt stronger than ever. I started noticing little things, him asking more questions, doing more research, being more present in our conversations. Then one day I saw a bottle of vitamins on his dresser. He hadn't said anything, hadn't made a big deal, but he'd quietly started taking the supplements the doctor recommended. I could have cried. I think I did. We did another semen analysis just to see. And there they were, 2 sperm. 2 tiny, miraculous sperm. I can't describe the joy we felt. That spark of hope returned, and for the first time in a long while, it didn't feel fragile. It felt real. Then one morning, he forwarded me an email. He had scheduled a consultation for micro-tease surgery in December. I was floored. It was something he'd once refused to even discuss, and now here he was, taking charge of his journey. The consultation went well, and he was approved for surgery in February. We went in with realistic expectations. The doctors didn't promise much. But they found 3 viable sperm. 3. We both broke down, crying right there in the clinic. That was the moment it all changed. Right after the surgery, I began my IVF process. I started medication to prepare for egg retrieval, and they collected 12 eggs. From those, we created 2 beautiful embryos, both healthy, 1 boy and 1 girl. Our doctors couldn't believe it. We were cautiously optimistic, but everything just kept moving forward. On May 1st, we transferred our little girl embryo. I still remember lying there in the clinic, holding his hand, staring at the monitor, and just feeling this surreal sense of awe. A few days ago, I tested positive. I'm pregnant. We're having a baby. It feels like a miracle. But also, it feels like work. Work we did together. Love we fought to protect. Healing we didn't run away from. We've both apologized to each other so much. He apologized for shutting down and pushing me away, and I apologized for not recognizing how deeply his pain ran. Looking back, I can see that we were both grieving. Him for the biological child he thought he'd never have, and me for the motherhood I thought I was being forced to let go of. We were hurting in different ways, and it pulled us apart before it finally brought us closer than ever. Now, as we look ahead to this next chapter, I feel overwhelmed with gratitude. Not just because I'm going to be a mother, but because my husband and I came through this storm holding hands. Because when things got hard, we didn't give up. We paused. We stumbled. But we found our way. And now we're here, waiting for our little girl, together.